Now I'm going to give you a few tips on how to properly fill the zones on the Brava trays. It's really important to make sure that you guys are filling them appropriately. The biggest mistake that I see people make is actually overfilling the tray. So I'm going to give you guys examples of a properly filled single zone, dual zone, and full tray cook. What you can see on the side here is these demarcations for the zones. So, and on this side, sorry, you can see 1, 2, and 3. So I'm just filling zone 2 because that's typically the default for all of our presets, is to have a single zone. Just notice what I'm doing is making sure that I'm keeping everything within the line and that I'm only putting one layer. This, I would say, is a pretty properly filled zone. The way that you could mess this up is to try and stack things too high in the zone just like this. What's going to happen here is that the sweet potatoes here on top are going to take all of the energy from the top lamps. The sweet potatoes on the bottom are going to take all the energy from the bottom lamps, but they're not going to share that energy. The top ones are going to absorb it all, and so the sweet potatoes that are on the bottom layer here are never going to get any energy from the top lamps, and they're going to be undercooked. The same thing's going to happen to the underside of the potatoes that were on top. They're going to be undercooked. So really, really important to make sure that you have a single layer. When a lot of people want to do something like this, what I would encourage you to do is just very simply move it into a 2-zone cook. And that is a perfectly filled 2-zone tray. Last but not least, let me show you what the full tray should look like. A couple of other tips here. You're going to see these lines right here on both sides of the circles. Please, please, please do not put anything past those lines unless it is a pizza. Pizzas will do fine past those lines, but vegetables and meats and things like that will not do as well if you try and go over those lines. So this is a perfectly filled full tray. A couple of things I want you guys to notice here too is that all of these sweet potatoes are pretty much the same size. Now if I got a ruler out, I would be able to tell you that this sweet potato isn't exactly the same size as this sweet potato. You can see the difference here. That's okay. It's not going to make that much of a difference. We do ask you to confirm the thickness just to make sure that your cook is going to go as you expected it to, but we don't expect you to pull out a ruler and have every single cut be exactly 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. But as you can see from the tray here, they're all relatively the same size. So that's what's really important to note here. Don't get too stressed out over making sure that every single thing is cut to perfection. Just make sure that they're all about the same size and that you're following the general guideline that we've given you. So again, here you have a properly filled single zone cook. What I want to show you is one thing that trips a lot of people up is actually by not filling the zone enough. So if I were to take half of the amount, the mass off of this tray and then just evenly spread it out. A lot of people do this because they were taught in a regular oven to spread things out on the tray. In a regular oven, that's the right thing to do. But that's not going to be the case in Brava because we've spread things out too much and there's too much of the tray showing here. What's going to happen is because we've tuned that recipe to work for the zone that was full like I showed you before. If you try and cook this in Brava using the single zone recipe, it's going to burn because you have more exposed metal from the surface area that's going to be absorbing a lot of the energy from the lamps and not enough mass or density on the tray to absorb all the energy coming from the lamps. And so it's invariably going to burn. So again, please make sure if you're going to do a single zone that you have fully filled that zone. This goes for frozen foods and pretty much any food that you put in Brava that does not require the temp sensor. You're going to want to make sure that that zone is nicely filled. In a pinch, if you only have this much sweet potato and you still want to go ahead and cook it, you absolutely can, and you can still use the preset, but I strongly advise that you come back to the oven a few minutes before it's actually done because it's going to be done early if you didn't fill the zone completely.